The rain-slicked streets of Brooklyn gleamed under the gray November sky like shattered glass. Each puddle a cruel mirror reflecting Emily's flawless bridal gown, ivory silk that hugged her curves like a lover's desperate grasp. But as she stepped toward the waiting limo, her golden retriever lunged forward on his leash, a low growl rumbling from his throat, his paws planted firm as if the devil himself barred the path to her forever. "Baby, not today," she whispered, heart pounding. But he yanked harder, eyes fixed on the shadows of the alley across the street, where a figure emerged, tall, drenched, his face a ghost from nightmares she never knew she had. Daniel's boots splashed through the downpour, his breath ragged, the anonymous note clutched in his fist dissolving like his resolve. "She's walking down the aisle today. Stop it, or lose him forever." He hadn't meant to come, hadn't meant to shatter this fragile charade Alex had built brick by brick over 3 agonizing years. But that treacherous bastard didn't give a damn about wedding vows or white picket fences. It clawed its way out, raw and bleeding, demanding to be seen. Emily froze, the veil trembling in the wind, as Max's barks echoed off the brownstones, drawing stares from the neighbors who'd gathered like vultures for the spectacle. "Who the hell are you?" she snapped, her voice cracking like thunder, the bouquet of white roses slipping from her manicured fingers to scatter petals in the mud. Daniel stepped closer, rain carving rivers down his face, his hazel eyes locking onto hers, not with triumph, but with the hollow ache of a man who'd already lost everything. "I'm the secret he's been burying," he said, voice steady despite the storm inside. "And your dog's smarter than both of us. He knows I shouldn't let you go through with this." The world tilted on its axis in that alleyway moment. The kind of fracture that doesn't heal clean, leaving jagged edges that snag on every memory afterward. Emily's breath hitched, her free hand flying to her throat where the pearl necklace, Alex's mother's heirloom, suddenly felt like a noose. Bless his loyal, psychic soul, sat obediently now, tail thumping once against the wet pavement as if to say, "See, I did my part." The neighbors murmured, phones already out, capturing the unraveling of what was supposed to be Instagram perfection, the perfect Manhattan wedding, the perfect fiancé, the perfect life she'd curated since college. When she'd first met Alex at that rooftop party in Soho, his easy smile cutting through the summer haze like a promise. But promises? Emily was learning in that suspended heartbeat, were just pretty lies wrapped in alibis. Daniel stood there, uninvited and unapologetic, water dripping from his dark curls onto the collar of his faded denim jacket, the one that smelled faintly of cigarette smoke and regret even from 5 feet away. He was handsome in a rugged, unpolished way, broad shoulders straining against the wet fabric, a faint scar tracing his left eyebrow like a question mark fate had etched too deep. Not the polished Adonis Alex pretended to be in their engagement photos. The kind of man who looked like he'd fought wars and lost them all with grace. "I'm Emily," she said finally, the words tasting like ash, extending a hand that trembled despite her best efforts. It was muscle memory, that Midwestern politeness her mom had drilled into her, always be kind, even when they're ripping your heart out. Daniel took it gently, his calluses rough against her soft skin, and for a split second, she saw it, the flicker of pain in his eyes, mirroring her own budding horror. "Daniel," he replied, voice low and laced with that New York edge, vowels clipped like he was biting back a sob. "And Alex." He's not who you think. The limo door creaked open behind her. The driver, a burly guy named Tony with a mustache that screamed 1980s cop drama, leaning out with a raised eyebrow. "Ma'am? We're late for the church." "Traffic's a bitch." Emily waved him off. Her mind a whirlwind of fragmented images, Alex's late nights at the office, the way he'd flinch when she suggested therapy after his stress headaches, the cologne that lingered on his shirts. Musky and unfamiliar. Not his usual crisp cedar. She'd chalked it up to wedding jitters, to the pressure of merging their lives, her graphic design gig in Chelsea, his rising star as a junior partner at that cutthroat law firm in Midtown. But now, staring at the stranger who'd crashed her big day like a meteor, doubt bloomed dark and thorny in her chest. "Tell me," she demanded, pulling her hand back but not stepping away. Max whining softly at her feet as if sensing the storm about to break. "What secret? And why the fuck does my dog know before I do?" Daniel hesitated, glancing at the alley's mouth where horns blared and pedestrians hustled by under black umbrellas, oblivious to the apocalypse unfolding. He ran a hand through his hair, leaving it in wild spikes, and let out a breath that fogged the air. "Because Max. He remembers me. From the park. Alex and we'd take him on walks sometimes. When Emily was at her book club or whatever excuse he fed you. Golden hour in Prospect Park. Frisbee and stolen kisses under the oaks. It started 2 years ago. At a client dinner. I was the bartender, pouring craft IPAs for Wall Street wolves like him. It was like lightning, eminencia. The kind that fries your circuits and leaves you begging for the burn. Her name on his lips, it shouldn't have stung like that. Intimate and presumptuous. But it did. Emily's knees buckled slightly, and she caught herself on the limo's doorframe, the cool metal grounding her as nausea roiled. 2 years. The math hit like a freight train, their engagement party at the Polo Bar. Champagne flutes clinking while Alex's phone buzzed incessantly in his pocket, the cancelled weekend in the Hamptons because of work, when she'd later found sand in his shoes that wasn't from Jersey Shore. We were planning our life. Maybe. And he's been fucking me, Daniel finished bluntly. No sugarcoating. His American grit shining through, the straight-talking queer kid from Queens who'd clawed his way through Juilliard on scholarships and sheer spite, only to fall for a man too scared to claim him. In motels off the turnpike, in his office after hours, in a bed when you were out of town. It's not just sex. It's everything. The laughs over bad takeout, the way he hums Sinatra in the shower like he's auditioning for some old-school musical. He loves me, Emily. But he's terrified of his family, his firm, this whole heteronormative bullshit circus we've built. Tears blurred the rain on her lashes. Hot and furious, mixing with the downpour as she shoved him. Twice, her palms slamming into his chest with all the force of a woman whose fairy tale was dissolving into farce. You bastard. Both of you. How dare you show up here, on my day, and drop this like it's some rom-com twist? Max barked sharply, positioning himself between them, hackles up, but Daniel didn't flinch. He let her rage wash over him, deserved and overdue, his own eyes glistening with unshed grief. Because I couldn't let you walk blind into that altar, he said softly, voice cracking on the edges. Alex begged me to stay quiet. Sent that note this morning, said it was for the best, but I can't. Not when I've spent nights staring at the ceiling, wondering if he'd ever choose me over the lie. And not when your dog's got more integrity than he does right now. The church bells tolled distantly, a mocking peal that twisted the knife deeper. Emily's phone buzzed in her clutch, texts from her bridesmaids. Her mom, where are you? The priest is pacing. She ignored them, staring at Daniel as if he held the Rosetta Stone to her unraveling world. What now? She whispered, the fight draining out of her like air from a punctured tire. I can't just not go. Daniel's laugh was bitter. Hello. You can. And you should. But first, come with me. There's proof in his car, parked 2 blocks down. Text. Photos. The kind that can't be gaslit away. He extended his hand again. Not for a shake this time, but an anchor. Max nosed it approvingly, and against every screaming instinct, Emily took it. The limo door slammed shut behind them as they plunged into the rain. 3 souls tangled in a web of deceit, chasing a truth that would either set them free or bury them alive. As they hurried down the sidewalk, puddles splashing up her hem like accusatory whispers, Emily's mind raced through the labyrinth of their relationship. Alex Hargrove, golden boy from Connecticut suburbs. Yale Law. The man who'd proposed on a yacht off the Hudson at sunset. Ring glinting like a star. She'd fallen hard, dazzled by his charm, his ambition, the way he made her feel like the center of his universe. But cracks had spiderwebbed early, his aversion to pride events she'd dragged him to. The jokes about his frat boy past that always circled back to discomfort. She dismissed it as internalized whatever, chalked up his distance to the grind of billable hours. Daniel walked beside her, stride purposeful, his presence a gravitational pull she resented and craved in equal measure. Up close, he smelled of rain and sandalwood, a faint undercurrent of vulnerability that made her want to hate him less. How'd you meet Max? She asked, needing something normal. A tether to sanity. Alex brought him over one night, Daniel said, dodging a cyclist who cursed in Spanish. After a fight, some bullshit about him missing my birthday for your anniversary dinner. Max jumped on the couch, licked my face like I was his long-lost brother. We walked him that night, talked for hours. It was the first time Alex said, I love you, without looking away. The words landed like punches, each one bruising a different part of her soul. They reached Alex's sleek black Audi, parked crookedly under a flickering street lamp, hazard lights blinking like a guilty heartbeat. Daniel punched in the code, 1-2-3-4. For fuck's sake. The laziest secret ever, and the trunk popped open with a hydraulic sigh. Inside, nestled among golf clubs and a forgotten gym bag, was a shoebox. Plain brown, taped shut, labeled memories in Alex's neat script. Emily's hands shook as she tore it open. Photos spilling out like confetti from hell, Alex and Daniel at Coney Island. Arms slung around each other. Cotton candy smeared on grinning lips. A selfie in a candlelit booth at some dive bar in the village. Foreheads touching. Eyes soft with that post-coital glow she'd mistaken for his exhaustion. A note scrawled on firm letterhead. D. Last night was everything. Can't wait for the next stolen hour. Her knees gave out then, and she sank onto the curb, the gown pooling around her like a deflated dream. Sobs racking her body as Max pressed against her side, warm and unwavering. Daniel knelt too, not touching her too. Not that, but murmuring apologies like a litany, his own voice thick with the weight of complicity. "I'm sorry," he kept saying. "For all of it. For loving him. For hating that I do." In the distance, sirens wailed, a symphony to her shattering. But Emily lifted her head, mascara-streaked and fierce. "Call him," she said, thrusting her phone at Daniel. "Tell him the wedding's off. And tell him to come get his shit. Because I'm done being the beard in his closet." The call connected on the third ring, Alex's voice booming through the speaker like a lifeline thrown too late, cheerful, oblivious, laced with that polished baritone that had sealed boardroom deals and her heart alike. "Ing. Where are you? The florist's losing it over the centerpieces. And your dad's already 3 whiskeys in. Tony said something about the dog. Everything okay?" Daniel's thumb hovered over the end call, his face a mask of torment. But Emily snatched the phone, her voice steel wrapped in silk. "No. Alex. Nothing's okay. I'm in Brooklyn, staring at a box of your dirty little secrets, and the man you've been screwing for 2 years is sitting next to me. Get down here. Now." Silence stretched like taffy, then a choked gasp, the kind that echoes in empty chambers. "Ing. It's not Scott. Daniel? You're there? This is insane. I'm coming. Don't do anything rash." The line went dead, but the echo of his panic lingered, a ghost in the rain. They waited in the Audi's backseat, Emily curled against the leather, Max's head in her lap, Daniel rigid in the corner like a statue carved from regret. The car smelled of Alex, leather polish, his cologne, a faint trace of the takeout tie they'd shared last week while he scrolled emails instead of looking at her. She traced the dashboard's grain, memories assaulting her in waves, the road trips to Vermont for foliage, his hand on her thigh as they sang off-key to Springsteen, the quiet mornings in their West Village walk-up, coffee brewing while he kissed her temple and whispered about their future. But futures, she realized, were illusions for cowards. Daniel shifted, clearing his throat. "You don't have to hear this from me. But it's not just about the sex. Alex, he's messed up. Eminencia. Grew up in that Greenwich bubble. Dad the judge who disowned his uncle for coming out in the 90s. He fought it for years. Dated women like it was a checklist. But with me, it's like he exhales for the first time." Emily's laugh was sharp, brittle. "Oh, spare me the tragic backstory. I'm not some villain in your love story. I'm the idiot who planned a life with a liar." But even as she spat the words, curiosity gnawed, a masochistic pull toward understanding the man who'd stolen her fiancé's soul. "What about you?" Bartender with a side of heartbreak. "What's your damage?" Daniel leaned back, staring at the fogged window where rain traced erratic paths. "Queen's kid. Italian mom who cried at every Will and Grace episode but still asked if I had a nice girl yet. Dad split when I was 10, left me with a guitar and a chip on my shoulder. I poured drinks to pay for acting classes. Dreamed of Broadway lights washing away the bullshit. Then Alex walks in one night, tie loosened, eyes like he's carrying the world's weight. Ordered a Manhattan, right? And we talked till closing. Next thing, I'm head over heels for a straight guy playing pretend. Straight, she echoed, the word tasting like bile. He proposed with my grandmother's ring. Said I was his anchor. You are Daniel said softly, surprising them both. In his way. But anchors sink ships sometimes. Headlights pierced the dusk then. Alex's Tesla screeching to a halt behind them. Tires hissing on wet asphalt. He burst out. Suit rumpled, charcoal gray. Tailored to perfection, hair disheveled. Face pale as fresh snow. Emily. He yanked open the back door. Ignoring Daniel entirely at first. Dropping to his knees on the pavement. Listen, it's not what you think. Daniel's blowing it up. Jealous. Unstable. Save it, she cut in. Versus. I saw the photos. Alex. Felt the sand from your solo beach trip. Heard the love in his voice when he talks about your walks with my dog. Max growled low. Hackles rising. And Alex flinched as if slapped. His gaze finally swung to Daniel. A storm of fury and longing brewing there, eyes narrowing. Then softening in that treacherous way Emily knew too well. You had to do this today? On her day? What the fuck? Daniel met it head on. Unflinching. Yeah. I did. Because 2 years of shadows isn't living. Alex. And neither is watching her walk into your trap. The alley amplified their voices, turning the confrontation into a raw, unscripted play, 3 actors under God's indifferent spotlight. Alex climbed in, slamming the door, the confined space thickening with tension like humidity before a squall. I love you. It's real. Daniel was. A phase. A mistake. The wedding planners. The venue. Our friends, it's all for keeps. But his hand, reaching for hers, trembled. And she pulled away. The pearl necklace snapping under her grip. Beads scattering like escaped tears. A phase? 2 years? Alex. While I was picking out China patterns and pretending your distance was ambition. Or you, the man who fucks men in secret and marries women for cover? Or just a coward too scared to burn it all down? Alex's face crumpled. The golden boy facade cracking to reveal the boy beneath, vulnerable, terrified. The one who'd confessed tearful doubts in therapy sessions she'd booked. Only to clam up when queerness surfaced. I didn't mean for it to happen. With him, it started as curiosity. After that firm retreat in Palm Springs. Vulnerability. And suddenly I'm drowning in feelings I can't name. But you. In your safety. The life I can have without my world exploding. Daniel snorted. Bitter. Safe. That's what you call it? Sneaking around like thieves? Deleting texts at 2 a.m.? I told you last month. After that fight in the loft, end it with her? Or I'm gone. But here we are. Still your dirty secret. The air crackled. Accusations flying like sparks. Emily watched them. This twisted triangle. Realizing with gut-wrenching clarity that she was the outsider in their epic, collateral in a romance that had simmered beneath her nose. You know what's heartbreaking? She said. Voice steady now. Forged in fire. Not the betrayal. It's that you could have chosen truth. Either of you. Instead, you dragged me through the motions, made me complicit in your lie. Alex reached for Daniel then. Desperate. Fingers brushing his knee, a touch loaded with history. Electric and intimate. Then, please. I can fix this. Like always. After the ceremony. No, Daniel interrupted, shrugging him off. His eyes, those hazel depths, hardening with resolve. No more afters. I'm done being the intermission in your straight guy fantasy. Sirens wailed closer. Perhaps a neighbor's overzealous 911. But none of them moved. Emily's phone lit up again, voicemails from the church. Her best friend Sarah's panic texts, "Girl, where the f are you?" Alex just peeled out like a maniac. She silenced it, turning to Alex with a gaze stripped bare. Go back. Tell them food poisoning or cold feet. Whatever. But when you pack your bags tonight, leave the ring. And Max stays with me, he's the only loyal one here. Alex's sob broke the silence, raw and boyish, as he buried his face in his hands. Daniel watched. Torn to love warring with self-preservation, the push-pull that had defined them from the start. Emily slid out first, Max trotting after. Her gown a sodden ruin but her spine straight. Figure your shit out, she tossed over her shoulder, hailing a cab with a whistle that cut through the rain. But don't call me until you know who you are. As the yellow taxi pulled up, Daniel followed, pausing at the door. You coming? She asked, surprising herself. He glanced back at Alex, still huddled in the car, a broken silhouette. Yeah, he said finally. For once. Let's chase something real. The cab merged into traffic, leaving Alex alone with his wreckage. The rain washing away the last illusions of the life he'd tried to force. The cab ride blurred into a haze of neon and regret, Brooklyn's gritty edges giving way to the fluorescent hum of an all-night diner on Flatbush, greasy spoon sanctuary where the coffee burned and the jukebox spun Springsteen like a bomb for busted hearts. Emily claimed a vinyl booth by the window, Max curling at her feet with a contented sigh, oblivious to the human fallout. Daniel slid in opposite, ordering black coffee for both, his hands drumming the Formica tabletop in a rhythm that screamed nerves. You look like hell, she said, not unkindly, wiping rain from her veil with a napkin monogrammed in H forever. The irony twisted like a knife. He barked a laugh. Genuine this time, the sound loosening something in her chest. Kettle. That dress, it's like a drowned meringue. Up close, in the diner's warm glow, Daniel's features sharpened into focus, the faint laugh lines crinkling his eyes, the silver hoop in his left ear catching the light. That tattoo peeking from his cuff, Amor vincit omnia? Love conquers all. In elegant script that now seemed like a cruel joke. They sat in loaded silence as the waitress, a no-nonsense Latina with tattoos snaking up her arms, set down mugs steaming with bitter truth. Emily cradled hers, inhaling the acrid scent, memories flooding unbidden, late-night study sessions in her dorm. Caffeine fueling dreams of stability, Alex's proposal toast. Anchors in the storm. Anchors. She'd been the weight holding him down, not up. Tell me everything, she said finally, voice a whisper over the clatter of plates. From the beginning. No edits. Daniel sipped, wincing at the heat. Then dove in, the storyteller's gift shining through, his words painting vivid strokes of stolen bliss. That first night at the bar, Alex, loosened tie and haunted eyes, confessing the firm's toxic bro culture, the pressure to man up after a merger gone south. Daniel, mixing drinks with flair, sharing his own scars, audition rejections that tasted like failure. A coming out at 19 that ended with his mom's rosary beads pressed into his palm and a door softly closed. One Manhattan became two. Then a walk to the subway where hands brushed and worlds tilted. It escalated fast, Daniel admitted, tracing the mug's rim. Motel in Jersey first, cheap, anonymous. The kind with vibrating beds and regrets built in. But it wasn't just fucking. Talk about you. Even how you grounded him, made him laugh with your bad puns and obsession with true crime podcasts. Said you were the best part of his life. The one he couldn't lose. Emily's throat tightened. A cocktail of rage and sorrow. So I was the consolation prize? The safe bet while he explored his curious side. No, Daniel insisted, leaning forward, intensity flaring. You were real. That's the bitch of it. He loves you, differently, but deep. With me. It's fire, passionate, consuming, the kind that scares him shitless because it means dismantling everything. Gay in America isn't just a label, it's a battlefield, family cutoffs, job whispers, the constant, what if they find out? He wanted both worlds. Thought he could compartmentalize like some corporate spreadsheet. The jukebox flipped to Thunder Road, Bruce's gravelly plea for escape mirroring their limbo. Emily nodded slowly, absorbing the layers, the betrayal not just personal, but systemic, a queer tragedy wrapped in straight privilege's noose. And you? You knew about me from day one. How'd that sit? Daniel's gaze dropped, shame etching lines around his mouth. Like acid. I tell myself it was temporary, that he'd come out swinging. Nights alone in my Astoria studio, staring at the ceiling fan whirring like my thoughts, jealous of your normalcy, your shared brunches, the way he'd light up texting you memes. But love's a masochist, it thrives on scraps. Last Christmas, he bailed on our holiday market date for your office party. I walked the empty stalls alone, mulled wine turning sour, and knew I was complicit. Enabling his cage. Tears pricked her eyes again. Not for Alex this time, but for this stranger across from her, a mirror of her own entrapment. Why today? The note, what was that about? He pulled a crumpled paper from his pocket, smoothed it on the table, Alex's scrawl, frantic and pleading. Dan, she's it. The life I need. Let go. For us. Woke up to it under my door. Delivery guy looked like he pitied me. Snapped something in me, the finality. If he could write that on our would-be wedding day, what future was there? So I came. Max's path be damned. Maybe. Or just a dog's nose for bullshit. Emily reached across then. Tentative. Her fingers brushing his, a bridge over the chasm. You're braver than he is. Then I was. Pretending the red flags were bunting. The touch lingered. Platonic but profound. Two wounded souls forging alliance in the diner's fluorescent confessional. Hours slipped by in that booth. Coffee refills punctuating confessions. Her doubts about kids. His dreams deferred for bar shifts, shared laughs over Alex's quirks, his aversion to cilantro. The way he'd quote The Godfather during arguments. Dawn crept in, painting the windows pink. When her phone shattered the fragile peace, Alex? 17 missed calls. A voicemail raw with desperation. Dan, meet me at the loft. Please. I can't lose you both. The cab to West Village was silent, tension coiling like a spring. The brownstone loomed, fairy lights from last night's rehearsal dinner still twinkling mockingly in the windows. Alex answered the door shirtless, eyes bloodshot, A half-empty scotch bottle on the coffee table amid scattered photos, their life in Polaroids. Now tainted. You came, he breathed, pulling Emily into a hug she didn't return, then turning to Daniel with arms outstretched. Thank God. But Daniel held back. Arms crossed. Talk. No bullshit. Who are you? Alex? The groom? The lover? Or just the ghost haunting us both? Alex collapsed onto the couch, head in hands, the weight of reckoning bowing his shoulders. Fucked up. Terrified. Dad's coming to the reception, expects grandkids. Legacy. The firm's partners. All buttoned up straights, they'd whisper, sideline me. But losing you, he looked up, eyes pleading. You're my best friend. The one who sees me soft. You're my fire. The parts one hide. I thought I could balance it. Be enough for both. Balance. Emily echoed, voice rising, pacing the Persian rug they'd picked together in Soho. You mean lie? Gaslight? Every late night was a stab. Alex. And now, on what was supposed to be my joy, you're not balancing, you're burning bridges. Daniel nodded, stepping closer, his presence a quiet storm. We could have built something real. You and me. Out and proud. Pride parades. Not closets. But you chose fear. Alex surged up, grabbing Daniel's shirt, pulling him into a kiss, fierce, desperate, tasting of whiskey and was. Emily watched, frozen, a voyeur to their passion, hands fisting fabric, bodies pressing with the urgency of drowning men. It broke something in her, not jealousy, but clarity. This was their truth, electric and undeniable, while she'd been the polite fiction. She slipped out then, Max at her heels, the door clicking shut like a period. In the crisp morning air, she breathed deep, freedom's first gasp. But as she walked toward the subway, phone buzzing with apologies, a new ache bloomed, not loss, but possibility. For herself. For Daniel? Maybe. For the messy, human heart that refused easy endings. Weeks blurred into a watercolor of aftermath, texts deleted, locks changed, the wedding venue refunded with a curt email that echoed in empty rooms. Emily moved through her days like a specter, quitting the design firm that reeked of Alex's connections, crashing on Sarah's couch in Harlem where wine-fueled rants became therapy sessions laced with dark humor. Girl, Sarah would say, passing the Merlot. You dodged a bullet wrapped in a rainbow flag. Max adapted seamlessly, his golden fur a constant comfort. Walks in Central Park now solo adventures where she'd toss the frisbee and let tears mingle with laughter at strangers' double takes. But Daniel lingered in her periphery, a text here, coffee, no strings. A shared meme about bad exes there. Their first meetup was at that same diner, neutral ground, where confessions evolved into camaraderie. He talked Broadway dreams reignited, audition callbacks that tasted like vindication. She confessed her buried wanderlust, the novel she'd shelved for stability. Write it, he'd urge, eyes alight. America's big enough for your stories, quit, whatever. Just make 'em bleed truth. Alex? Meanwhile, unraveled in spectacular fashion, voicemails escalating from pleas to recriminations. A drunken showing at her door one midnight where he sobbed about therapy breakthroughs. I'm bi. Through. Both loves valid, only to ghost when she suggested couples counseling for closure. Daniel fielded his own barrage, late-night calls from dive bars. Promises of change, I'll come out. Then, for us. Shattered by mornings of silence. He's a hurricane, Daniel told her over falafel in the East Village. Frustration etching his brow. Pulls you in, spits you out. But damn if I don't miss the eye. The high tide of drama crested a month later. At a mutual friends gallery opening in Chelsea, art speak pretension masking the social minefield. Emily arrived in jeans and silk blouse. Hair loose. Feeling lighter than she had in years, Daniel. Beside her unannounced. In a leather jacket that hugged his frame like a dare. They mingled. Shoulders brushing. Easy banter flowing like they'd always been this duo, until Alex appeared. Suit sharp as a blade. Eyes hollowed by insomnia. The confrontation brewed in the sculpture garden. Under twinkling strings of lights. The Hudson murmuring beyond the railing like a conspirator. You too, Alex slurred slightly. Champagne flute trembling in his grip. Thick as thieves now? Replacing me? Emily's laugh was low. Liberated. Not replacing. Evolving. You taught me what I won't settle for twice. Half measures. Daniel stepped forward. Voice steady. And me? You taught me my worth. No more scraps. Alex. I'm out, friends know. Families adjusting. It's scary as hell. But freeing. Like finally directing my own damn play. Alex's face twisted, rage. Envy. Longing, a toxic brew spilling over. You think it's easy? Coming out at 30? With Dad's law firm legacy on the line? I tried. For you? He jabbed at Daniel. Then softened toward Emily. For us. But you bailed. Both of you. Left me in the wreckage. No, Emily countered. Fire in her veins. We survived your shipwreck. You chose the closet, we chose air. The argument escalated. Voices rising over the jazz trio's croon. Drawing stares from the glitterati. Alex lunged then, not violent, but desperate, grabbing Daniel's arm, pulling him close in a mockery of intimacy. One more chance. Please. I love. Stop. Daniel wrenched free. Chest heaving. Tears carving paths down his cheeks. Love isn't possession. It's release. Go find yours, therapy, finder, whatever. But not us. Emily watched the fracture. Heart aching not for the man she'd lost, but the boy he'd been before fear calcified him. As Alex staggered away, shoulders slumped in defeat, to turn to Daniel. The night air crisp with autumn's bite. You okay? He exhaled shakily. Hazel eyes meeting hers, vulnerable. Alive. Yeah. For the first time. The beat. Then, walk with me. They wandered the high line. Elevated rails turned promenade. City lights sprawling below like a canvas of second chances. Max waited at home. But here, under the stars peeking through smog, something shifted, not romance. Not yet. But kinship. Daniel shared a cigarette. Unfiltered, its glow illuminating confessions. His fear of forever after foster kid flings. Her terror of spinsterhood post-betrayal. Laughter bubbled up. Absurd and healing. At the memory of Max's blockade. That dog's my hero. Should get him a cape. By the time they reached her new sublet in the village, a cozy one-bed with bookshelves groaning under tomes, dawn pinked the horizon. At the door, No grand gestures. Just a hug, his arms strong, her head fitting perfectly against his chest. Heartbeats sinking in quiet rebellion. "Thanks for being the plot twist I needed," she murmured. "Anytime," he replied, pulling back with a grin. "Now write that book. Make me the sidekick with depth." Months unfurled like pages, Emily's novel took shape. A queer-tinged drama of secrets and salvation. Daniel's name in the acknowledgments, his off-Broadway debut as a heartbroken bartender earned raves. Alex a footnote in the program. Alex? Rumors trickled. Therapy? A quiet coming out to his sister? A new job in San Francisco where rainbows weren't just parades. No contact. But Emily hoped, in her softer moments, for his healing. One spring evening, cherry blossoms dusting Washington Square Park, Daniel found her on a bench, manuscript in lap. "Read it?" he asked, settling beside. Every word. She leaned into him, natural as breathing. And the ending? Open. Hopeful. He took her hand, lacing fingers, not anchor, but compass. Like us, in America's vast, flawed tapestry, where love defies labels, betrayal forges steel, and dogs lead the way home, their story wove on, messy, human, unapologetically alive. Not a fairy tale, but a testament. Heartbreak's secret isn't the pain, but the freedom it unlocks, one blocked path at a time.